Hello, everybody. This episode of The Horror Show is brought to you by Wendy Smith, Courtney Higginbottom, and I swear there was another one, Matthew McCroson, and Charles Teed. Thank you guys so much. They donated over at patreon.com/IHateHorror. So thank you guys so much. We really appreciate that. The stickers have kind of been delayed going out. I'm going to get those out this week, though. And same with any of the shirt orders if you've done it. Guys, we are extremely low on those. So just make sure you get your orders in if you want anything of those, because I'm going to probably blow them out pretty soon and or just put them away. And then, but we are working on some winter merchandise. So I'm going to have that stuff up very, very soon. You're going to see something. So I think we're going to do a little bit bigger of an announcement this time. Last time I didn't give you enough information, enough time, I think. So we're going to do this one. A lot of people missed out on the first shirt. So yeah, we'll see. Anyway, up next is Neon Maniacs.
Okay, I stopped paying attention in class. I was thinking about the adventures of Ash, about the misfortune of sitting kids at Crystal Lake. Became addicted straight away with the initial tape. God bless Betamax. VHS, holy like Amanda Kruger. I was introduced to genre flicks by Toby Hooper. I started craving more just like Larry the Looter. I collected VHS without commentary or bloopers. Slow computers, magazines, a bunch of stores. Spent my money on movies and begged my mom for more. I'd watch the boys kill those astro bastards 5 times a day or even more. I loved the gore. Lionel and Paquita combined their lonely hearts. I was hellbound, Cenobites tore my soul apart. I've seen them all, from Dracula to Vertigo. Listen up, welcome to the horror show with Sean
I'm
and
recording
Joe.
right now, so whatever.
All right, wait, I'm recording too. Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Horror Show. Dissects, mutilates, dismembers, and butchers all of your favorite and not so favorite horror movies and other horror-related events. I'm Sean.
I'm Joe.
So, guys, this is like, I don't want to say it's a rushed episode, but it's a rushed episode. I literally just finished watching Neon Maniacs, and Joe did too. And I think we're both oddly excited for this.
Yeah, that does not mean I liked it. I'm just anxious to talk about it.
I am too, because I feel like people really enjoy this movie, and I'm not sure if that's accurate or not.
So I went on Letterboxd, which I usually do after I watch the movie, just to see what like some of our listeners rate this.
Okay.
And I was expecting a bunch of half stars and 1 stars. Quite a lot of 2.5, 3s, which is not
very generous.
Justified. Yeah.
Very generous. Like, I was expecting a mess, but a fun mess. And that's not what this is. And
yeah. I don't know how much fun I had.
And an ending that was atrocious. Like, offensive. It was honestly offensive to me, this ending.
I could not agree more.
Like, that was what I'm like watching the ending. I almost just want to talk about the ending. The ending blew me away because it was almost set up to be the fun kid movie ending, which I honestly at that point I would have accepted. Like,
sure.
But it was not even that. So
I would have just accepted an ending.
Yeah, right. I think that's what I mean to say. I think that's what I'm trying to say. I would have accepted anything that made sense at that point. Because this whole movie,
even an attempt to wrap something up. Like, even if they failed, at least they attempted it. But they did not even attempt to end the movie.
No, this movie, yeah.
It's like when you're listening to a song and it just like fades out, you know? It's like, just fucking end it. Find the right note and end it.
So this movie is made in 1986. And I feel like we need to talk about something, but I guess not. Joe's back. He's been sick.
Back. Yes.
With the holidays and shit, guys, this is just kind of going to be, we're trying to do what we can here. All right. Everyone's busy. Everyone's got shit to do. So, but this is going to be a full episode. So, it is though that we both like literally just watched it. Like,
Yeah, this might be the first time we've ever watched same day.
Same day, like almost the same time, and then just immediately jumped into a phone call.
Yeah. It's like the most fresh a movie's been on my brain, so I'll probably somehow remember less of it.
Dude, I absolutely will remember less. But it doesn't help that, I mean, it was an hour and 30 minutes, and somehow it did take me to like 2.5 hours to watch this movie.
I don't usually do this. I do want to give a shout out to Matt Berry. I went and saw he's a listener of ours. I went and saw his stand-up last night.
Yep.
Funny as fuck.
At Matt Berry Sucks.
Yes, he was hilarious. Highly recommend if he's in your area. He hosted like he brought out the other people too, and he was a crowd favorite. He made Tina snort like 4 times. I don't even know if I've ever done that. So.
Matt's cool. I drank with Matt. I wanted to go see him, but I totally forgot about it, to be honest with you. So,
he definitely motivated me to watch this today because he came over before his set and was just like, you have to fucking watch this and do this episode.
Oh, really? So Neon Maniacs opens with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre voice. And it's like, when the world is ruined by violence, the souls of mankind fades. The children's path shall be darkened by the shadow of the Neon Maniacs. So now I know that statement doesn't make sense, but I was like, oh, okay. That doesn't explain shit or mean anything to the plot of this story.
If I was to ask you to tell me what this movie's about right now, in a brief summary, how would you do that?
I don't think I could, dude. I honestly, and that's not an exaggeration, because I could tell you that kids kind of fought Neon Maniacs, whatever those are.
Now, what are them? What isn't Neon?
No idea. But they do have their own trading cards and like 8x10 photographs lying around town.
Tina would keep walking in the room and just keep asking me, why are they called Neon? And like that, if that is like the least of my concerns during this movie.
Dude, it's so fucking weird. And we open up with so even that statement, you're like, all right, whatever. And then you open up with a fisherman. And actually, to answer your point, like, so again, like I can't tell you what happened in this movie. I know maniacs appear, whatever that is, and then kids kind of fight them, and that's being very generous because like they don't really solve anything or really fight them at all, and then that's it. That's the movie, and there's no explanation for anything. I'm just gonna cut right to this. At the end, there is a singing scene. I don't even want to call it a scene because it's honestly like the entire third act, and it is the most meaningless, like pointless thing I've ever seen in a movie. I've never seen a movie with more filler. Like, you know what I mean? Like, dude, like if you're just gonna go chaotic, like have the maniacs, like I'd be fine if the maniacs were on the screen the entire time, just causing chaos, and you're like, well, I don't know why this is happening, but fine. But when you put in so much filler, you're just like, what? What's the point of this? Oh my god, it's so fucking funny. What a mess. Like it's like a I don't even know what the most watered down version of like Nightbreed, I think.
So it reminded me a lot of Nightbreed, and it also kind of reminded me of Mandy in the sense that there's like weird things on motorcycles that are never explained. But at least Mandy was kind of at least Mandy pulled it off. It made me like Mandy even more. Mandy explains nothing. Mandy explains nothing. Like when that movie ended, I wasn't even sure if I liked it. It did grow on me a lot. But Mandy explains nothing. I'm like, how are we supposed to like be invested in this? And then I watched this. I'm like, fine. I'm fine with the way Mandy was made.
Yeah. So Nightbreed, like I like Nightbreed. It's not one of my favorite movies. Like I just think it's kind of weird fucking movie. But like after watching this, I was like, oh man, they did that whole like Monsters on Earth thing really well.
Yeah, they did. And I agree. Nightbreed's not my favorite, but at least there's like we've said this before. Like all it would take is literally one person to just be like, oh yeah, this is why this is happening. And you're like, okay, fine.
That's all we needed in this. So to start off with how ridiculous this fucking movie is there's a fisherman who's under the Golden Gate Bridge, and then he finds these giant trading cards / headshots of the Neon Maniacs. Like, unexplained. Why do they have photographs of themselves?
I have no clue.
And why? Like, they're just laying about, and they're just photos of them, and the guy finds them, and honestly, if you found those, you wouldn't think anything other than that they're just fucking weird headshots. Or like,
absolutely,
like you wouldn't be like, oh, like, oh no, not the Neon Maniacs. Like, that makes no fucking sense. And this guy's just kind of like, wait, what the fuck? And then the Neon Maniacs show up and just kill him with an axe, and that's how we kick off the show or the movie.
Yeah. And honestly, at this point, and even like within the next 15 minutes, there's enough action, and the Maniacs, the prosthetics, they're fine. Like, I was like,
sure,
okay, this could be somewhat enjoyable.
Sure. But the kills are terrible, as we'll soon discover. The gore in this is so minimal. You can't even use that to cover up what a fucking disaster this is.
What year was this? It was 86, right?
86, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, they had more than enough at their hands.
Plenty. They had plenty. And you could tell by the prosthetics, like, you could have done special effects.
You could have, yeah. Although they wasted it on that one main Neon Maniac, because there's literally some people in that gang that have almost no makeup on them. They just walk weird. Like,
dude, I was gonna say that as you're introduced to the Maniacs, you meet a couple that are like, whoa, what great special effects. And then you meet one that might just have like tape on his face.
Yeah, he just like squat walks. Like, whoa, what a freak.
Like, oh, what a maniac. It's so fucking funny.
Although, honestly, if I was approached by that group, that guy would be the biggest. Like, I would consider that guy the biggest maniac.
I think you're
like,
right.
If some guy walked at you like that.
I think you're right. I think you might be right. It's also very weird how all the maniacs had very like ethnic costumes, very like geographically based costumes. Like,
yeah, there was a Native American one.
There's a Native American. There's a samurai. There's like a caveman. It's very odd. It's very odd. If you're wondering
why, well, I don't have that answer, and nobody that's watched this movie will ever have that answer.
Oh no, that's totally unexplained. I mean, the best answer is these were all like terrible actors in California, in San Francisco, like wannabe actors that somehow got mutated. Like, they were all like going out for auditions and somehow were mutated, and that's where we're at, because nothing else makes sense about this. Like,
this has the horror show royalty in the guy that plays the Wishmaster. It's his first role.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah, he's in this.
Holy shit. Because no one else really is. The girl that plays Roxy from Basic Instinct, she's in it. She plays Natalie, and that's it. Like, no one in this movie had a Wikipedia page. It was
probably because when they saw the final product, they changed their names and like moved away.
Speaking of Natalie, we meet Steven and Natalie. They'll be our main characters. Steven is at first he's a loser, and then at the end of the movie, for some reason, everyone's like, Steven's the hottest guy in school. And I don't know if it's because everyone else has been murdered by the Neon Maniacs.
That is 100% why.
And then, so we meet Steven. He's a loser that owns a grocery store. This will not come into play. And we meet Natalie, who is part of this group that they're going out to drink and fuck in a park, I guess.
Yes.
I guess that's the big plan in San Francisco. Imagine living in San Francisco and being like, man, we got nothing to do. Like, man, there's just nothing going on. We live in one of the biggest cities in the fucking world. And just, man, fucking Boorsville. We also meet Paula briefly, who is a child who likes making horror movies.
Yes.
She'll come into play a little bit later.
How old is she supposed to be?
I have no idea, but she's sleeping with the most terrifying Halloween masks over her bed, and
Right.
probably needs to be
And
sent
she's-
to a therapist.
She's always wearing a baseball cap, I think, to like make her look younger, you know?
Yeah.
But then at the end, she literally looks like she's like 25, 30.
I think she might be. I think she might be. She really does. And with a name like Paula, I think you're just born at 25. Like, I don't think you have a childhood if your name's Paula. So these kids, these other kids, these teenagers who are also just like adults, like they're just adults. At one point, like Steve goes to Natalie's house and Natalie's like, hey, you want a beer or something? Like in the middle of the day, as if they're like in their 30s. It's so fucking bizarre. So these kids are out in the middle.
Dialogue in this is noteworthy bad.
Oh, very, very bad. Like,
The guy insults somebody by calling him pasta breath. Is that even an insult? Like, would you be offended if someone said, okay.
like I don't even is if he was like super Italian, like if he had an Italian accent, like a Mario brother, I'd be like, okay, I get it. That's kind of racist. Like it's a racist insult.
But
But
still don't even think I would be offended by it.
no, this guy is as American as apple pie. Like, and pasta doesn't smell that bad. Like I would take it as a compliment, quite frankly.
I think I would too. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Like pasta's not the worst thing you could smell like. Yeah, the dialogue's terrible. And that's funny because he calls him pasta breath after Steven's insult was like, hey, my dad needs a security guard in the fruit aisle. Which honestly took me like 5 minutes. And the guy's response is like sick burn and then calls him pasta breath. But like I had to think for like 5 minutes about what being a security guard in the fruit aisle meant. And I think he's just calling him gay. I think that's what he's trying to do.
I don't know what he's trying to do because I don't. None of that is
Security
an
guard.
Why would his dad need that? I don't know what I don't know what his point was. But right before that, he was saying that his dog's name was Dog, but he thought about naming it Cat, as if that was a fucking like heavy hitting joke. The way he delivers it, like, it's ridiculous.
It's so perfect. And then so then these teens they go out to the woods to have sex and drink, and again have like terrible dialogue like, oh, Sue's crazy, she's not on the pill or anything. Like I'd be like, stop talking to me about Sue's sex life. Like I don't give a shit what Sue does. Like shut the fuck up.
I don't know if you picked up on this because I always like will pick up on the most meaningless, stupidest things. But there's a guy on a motorcycle that drives by, and one of the actors picks something up and throws it at the guy on the motorcycle, and he throws it with such ferocity and speed that it honestly, if it connected with this guy's head, it might have killed him. I rewound it again to be like, holy shit! Like he's throwing it, and he was so close to him too.
No, I love picking up on that shit. It was like when you picked up on in fucking Manos Hands of Fate how he falls on the fucking concrete. Like that is like a hard hitting bump. Like that guy fucking
Breaks
got
the
hurt.
fall of his face. Yeah.
Like that shit fucking hurts. So these kids are out in the woods and the Neon Maniacs just show up. Like there's no anticipation or reasoning behind it. We don't really know why the Neon Maniacs are coming out. But they do. And it's early enough where I'm like, okay, we'll figure out why they're coming out.
And I was fine with this scene because they showed up, they caused havoc, and I was like, I'm fine with it. If the rest of the movie was like that, it would be an enjoyable, campy B movie.
They slaughter everybody. They slaughter
There's a
this
guy
entire group.
getting head. There's a guy getting head, and they cut off the girl's head during the act.
Yeah, the samurai decapitates the woman while she's blowing this guy. So, like, you know, I'm pretty excited at this point. I'm like, oh, this is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they stab a guy in the face who's laying on the ground. This weird little mutant has a fish hook that's just like dragging bodies around. Like it's fucking wild. There's a biker neon maniac. Wait, are the Neon Maniacs just the village people?
I think so. I think they might be.
There's a
We have the Native American.
the Native American,
We have
the
a cowboy.
biker.
Yeah.
Oh, this is weird. Okay, so the village. Okay, so anyway, they just kill all these people, including they snap this one kid's foot. Oh, I love that part. But the weirdest part is how these kids decide to fight back because like
This one kid. This one kid is just like, "What are you guys dressed up as?" And they're just standing there, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you want to play rough?" And he charges at them. Well, he calls them bozos, which I loved. But then he charges at them, and they. This is not exaggeration. They literally just step out of the way, and that's how this kid is thwarted because he falls on his face, and then the Neon Maniacs get him.
even worse, dude. It's even worse than that. He falls into a noose. that the Neon Maniac is holding, and they just hang him from that. Like, it's so absurd. And also, that guy's a fucking idiot because there's two Neon Maniacs and him. And even if you're not like, hey, those are Neon Maniacs, they're grown men dressed like psychopaths. And one of them has a crossbow that he just shot your football with. Like, you're not going to run at them. You're going to fucking run away. Like, imagine running away. Oh my God. It just, that part fucking infuriated me. And then another
And if you're
kid.
going to run at them, like, you should have the wherewithal to like not split the difference. Like, at least run into one of them.
Run between them.
Unbelievable.
Another kid, he gets into it with a samurai, the samurai Neon Maniac, and his weapon, he decides he's going to thwart this guy by shooting him with fucking Roman candles, which has never hurt anyone unless you shot him in the eye, which he's just trying to shoot him in the stomach with. And of course it doesn't work and he's dead. So it's fucking absurd. The final girl that survives is Natalie, of course. And she is trapped in her van and they are destroying the van, smashing it, breaking the windows.
There's a guy, the guy that walks weird is on top of it. I want to say he's jumping, but I'm not quite sure what he's actually doing. I've never seen anyone move like that.
He might be having sex with the van, to be quite. It might be a sexual act. And they're trying to get in and they can't. And ultimately the cops come.
And the Neon Maniacs leave.
And the Neon
Like
Maniacs
like-
leave.
Like underage drinkers. Oh shit, the fuzz.
Yeah. Like that's the first offensive thing that happens. Like that's the first obscene thing. And the cops show up and are like, hey, you got a problem here? Like she's screaming in a destroyed car.
And there should be just a carnage, like within their eyesight, because kids were mutilated.
So they bring her in.
Oh, and to anyone that hasn't seen this that was like the extent of the action that you're gonna get from most of this movie.
Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's really it until yes, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that's it because I don't even consider the school dance scene thing. That was just fucking insane. Like
No, maybe the subway scene.
oh okay, all right, I guess maybe sure.
But that's being generous.
Yeah, it is because it's being very generous. So the cops listen to her story, and I'm not sure they totally even disbelieve her. They're not like, oh, shut the fuck up.
They're not like other horror movie cops.
Right. But they're like, well, we can't tell people what she's saying. And this one main cop, and he, like, again, that's a very generous term as main cop, because he is supposed to be a main character in this, but he is in it so infrequently. And he really just shows up to be like, follow that girl constantly. That's all he keeps saying. And no one does it really, except for one part in the movie. So that's what he says. He's like, we can't tell people about this, but follow that girl. Keep an eye on that girl. So that Natalie goes home and it starts raining blood, I believe.
It does, but it's not nearly as cool or metal as Slayer would make you believe.
It is not from a lacerated sky bleeding in horror. It's just like kind of drizzling blood. And she's like, ah! which I mean is an understandable reaction, but she's not that phased. Like,
It turns out she's just dreaming, so it doesn't matter.
yeah. The next day, because the police who have just been informed that there's been murders and missing people, wait a full day to go investigate the crime scene, and are like, "Oh man, the blood's been washed away." But they do find a large quantity of slime.
Yes.
They will send that to the forensics team, who later in the movie, they will reveal that the forensic team has no idea what it is. They've never seen anything like it. And the cop's like, follow that girl. That's his logical conclusion. Oh, fuck. It's so fucking frustrating. And then while this is happening, basically everyone is calling Natalie or going up to her. Like in school, one of the kids' sisters that was killed goes up to her and is like, "Where's my brother?" And a natural reaction, I suppose. And Natalie handles it by being like, "Yeah, he's dead. I'm sorry." And by the way, they can't find bodies. The police couldn't find bodies. They couldn't find blood. So like no one fully understands what happened, I guess.
Right. The sister's reaction is very reasonable. What's not reasonable is the two guys at the lunch table, because one guy gets involved. It's like, "Hey, settle down." And the other guy's like, "Yeah."
Dude, one guy is so horny about his best friend, like about to fight a girl over her brother going missing. Like they keep cutting back to him and he's like, "Oh yeah." It's so fucking
He's almost like breaking the third wall, like winking at the audience. Like, it's about to go down. Like, what?
It was so fucking weird. So this is all happening, people are also calling Natalie, like parents being like, "You fucking bitch, where's my kid?" But she doesn't have the answers, and she's having a hard time with that. Meanwhile, we catch back up with Paula, the little kid filmmaker, and somehow she has just pieced this all together somehow. Literally on nothing. It was insane. Other than, I think she was told like Natalie's story because her friend is the son of a cop. And so she's like, "Oh, I'm going to investigate," and somehow cracks this case wide open within minutes.
Yeah.
And captures them on film.
Wait, when did she capture him on film?
The Neon Maniacs.
No, I know. When did she capture him on film, though?
Like right now.
She goes out there and gets them? I don't remember that.
So she starts investigating. She finds a bunch of dead pigeons. And then
Yes, I remember that.
Then she's out in the woods by the thing. And she's just like, she knew that they were going to come out for some reason. And they come out and she films them walking and captures one falling in a puddle and dying. So not only does she have them, not only does she have them on film, but she has their weakness on film. And then one of them sees her, but they're thwarted because it immediately starts raining. So the Neon Maniacs have to take shelter. And one of them is literally like looking up at the sky, shaking his fist like, "Damn you, rain."
And for things that are thwarted by water, they chose a terrible place to fucking live because they live in the Golden Gate Bridge.
The one of the rainiest places on Earth and right by an ocean.
Yes, it's over water. And it's the longest bridge like ever.
It's the fucking dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life. Dumbest concept. Oh my God. It's almost as dumb as the aliens in what was that movie? The M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Oh, Signs.
Signs. Imagine being an alien and being like, "Hey, this is like the only planet nearby that is mainly comprised of water. Why don't we go there?"
Yeah, that's a great point.
And try and fuck their shit up, even though the most of the planet is water. Like 99% of it's water. Anyway, so Neon Maniacs, yeah, so they're killed by water. This girl has all the proof. But she never shows anyone this film. Not even when she's in police custody and a cop's like, I don't believe you. And she's like, trust me. She never once decides to show them this film, which is a great idea.
I think
great idea.
That's why I don't remember her doing that.
Yeah, because
it never came back.
Well,
she
you
used
also
it to her
don't
advantage.
You also don't realize it because it only for a split second does it show it like from the camera POV, and it's just like a quick second. And she might not even. I don't even know. Who gives a shit? So one of our fans is going to be like, actually, she wasn't filming because, and I don't give a shit. That's stupid. Then don't include it. So Steven and Natalie, they decide they're going to go on a date. And they're going to go to the movies.
Which, I know we say this a lot, but like, it's very soon after all these people were slaughtered. I feel like she should have like a coping period.
She just watched her friends die, and he shows up to deliver groceries and is like, well, you want to go to the movies? And honestly, this girl's face sometimes cracks me up because like, she genuinely, like when he was cracking jokes, her face was like, ugh, like... It looked like she couldn't even muster up to act like she likes this guy. And the same thing happens when he asks her to go to the movie. She's like, yeah, it seems like she's like, I guess. Like maybe this will help me get over it, but probably not because you're a nightmare. But they do go out. And then this is when I really start having a huge issue with the Neon Maniacs, which is they are just... They're just everywhere. They're not hiding. They're just walking around.
Which makes it really hard to believe that this has only just started to occur.
Right.
Like it seems like this should be a frequent event.
Or why they're targeting people.
Like all of a sudden, right?
And specific people. Like, why aren't they just murdering everyone?
I don't know, because their motivations, like why do they even know who this girl is? Like why are they still trying to get her?
I have no idea, but they find her in a fucking subway station. And they attack them in the subway station. Yes. And they kill the conductor by melting his ears off, I guess. I don't know.
Yes, and then one of the maniacs proceeds to take his spot.
Yes, and I thought that was going to come back like, oh, the maniacs are in control of the subway system now, and it doesn't. They will cut to him later in the movie just driving the subway still, like as if he's gotten a new job, and that's it. Like he looks just genuinely happy to have work. Like
that's why they were doing all this. Like they just couldn't get employment.
That's what they're upset about. So this happens. And then also, so they escape the subway and then they get on a bus and they're like, oh, thank God we're safe. And somehow a Neon Maniac is on the side of a moving bus and breaks the window and grabs Steven.
Well, the reason they got off the subway is because the maniac that was driving it too fast. So like the system, like the emergency system went on and overrode like the speed. So the emergency brakes went on and the maniacs that were cornering them were thrown when the brakes went on.
What an elaborate setup for a fucking stupid scene. Oh, it's so amazing. It's so fucking amazing. And so they escape again. And that's that. So after this, Paul and Steven are like for some reason Steven's still like, I don't know, Natalie.
I'm also pretty sure he still wants to go to the movies.
Oh, he 100% does, and is still like, so what about the dance? Like,
yeah, well, he says something along those lines, like shortly after this happens. Like, so are we still on? It's like, what?
Dude,
you should be packing your bags.
It's fucking insane. And then Paula shows up at the door and is like, hey, Natalie, I believe you. I've seen them too. So she lets them in. They start talking about the monsters. And she's like, hey, guys, I've seen them. And I actually just killed one in my house. by pouring water on it and turning a shower on it. And Steven's like, oh, give me a fucking break. Which is my favorite thing, to somebody having seen the monsters already, but then just being like, get the fuck out of here. like you could do that about, like, imagine if somebody's like, hey man, I just saw a guy turn into a wolf person, but guess what? If we have silver bullets, it'll kill him. Like, and being like, get the fuck out of here. That's bullshit. That's fucking ridiculous. But that's what he does. And then Natalie's like, hey, Steven, I don't know. They're monsters. This is pretty weird. And Steven's like, well, I guess you're right. So then they come up with the worst plan. These fucking morons. I've never heard of. This is worse than Ernest Scared Stupid, like milk squirt guns. Their plan is to go to the dance still, because Steven must have never gotten laid in his life, because this guy is so hard up to get this girl to the dance at the movies. He's like willing to forgo fucking death. And he's like, okay, we'll go to the dance and we'll just give everyone squirt guns. And everyone's like, you know what, Steven? That's a fucking great idea.
That is what they do.
And that is one of the worst ideas I've ever heard pitched in a fucking movie. And you're right. Yeah, that's what they do. And we also learned Steven's in a band.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And like Joe said, this is the third act of the movie, and 90% of it is bands performing.
And it's the worst. It's the worst. The first song is like a new wavy song, and then there's a hair metal performance.
Yes.
And then it goes to Steven like crooning.
And it's so fucking bizarre. It's so fucking weird. And while this is happening, the police are sitting outside the school because they're monitoring Natalie. And they literally watch an army of Neon Maniacs just walking around. There's like 100 of them, and they are not trying to be hidden or in the shadows. They are walking down the street. Like, they should have driven cars. Also, they have firearms. Like, they have guns. Some of these things are using just normal weapons. They're not even like totally supernatural.
Right.
Well, the cops actually don't do anything. A surgeon Neon Maniac, he's dressed as a surgeon. They all have menial jobs. It's so fucking funny. He kills a security guard and performs surgery on him. The entire rest of the movie will just check in on this guy, just performing surgery on a dead guy. And the rest of the Neon Maniacs just walk into the fucking dance.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're in the dance for a while.
and like, they do nothing. Why? I don't understand. They showed up and they killed everybody on sight. And now they're so like set to kill the one last girl. But like, why not? They would have had a field day in this dance.
And then they start doing that though. They start killing some of the dancers, but not very well. Like, and
right.
The entire plan.
My point being, when we first saw them, they showed up and immediately wreaked havoc to anybody and anything in their way.
Sure.
And that's not what they do for the rest of the movie.
No. They're very peaceful. They only want to kill when they have to at this point for some reason. And they start attacking everyone eventually, but it takes them quite a while. And the whole plan with the water guns, like Steven is on stage when the attacks start happening. So you're expecting him to be like, all right, now start squirting your squirt guns. But that doesn't happen, and everyone just runs. So half the crowd is being slaughtered, and the other half is escaping. So the entire plan does not happen. It fucking infuriates me. And all this is happening. No one is grabbing.
Wait.
It's insane.
Didn't one of the demons use ether to like knock out a security guard.
Yes. He did. And then that's when the surgeon starts performing surgery on him.
But like, why not just kill him?
Of course, that's what they should have done. They're carrying fucking giant axes and shit.
Carrying a bottle of ether? Oh my God.
They're supernatural. And all this is happening. And then finally, Paula, now again, Steven's big idea was fucking squirt guns. Paula somehow finds the biggest hose on earth inside the gym, like a fire hose, and proceeds to kill some of the Neon Maniacs with it. Probably should have been their number one plan, knowing that they would come in. And also, this wasn't a costume party.
It was not.
So,
I thought it was when they showed up. And
So-
I like double checked into that.
when they show up, you think they would be pretty easy to identify because it's just a bunch of ghouls walking around. And even if they weren't ghouls, they're still dressed up as like different professions. So like you'd be like, what the fuck is happening? So this next sequence will make so little sense. It cracked me up. Like I was honestly laughing. Okay, so Paula dispatches them with the hose. Paula is MIA. Steven and Natalie sort of escape, but they go deeper into the school for some. Everyone else leaves. Like the front doors of the school, like you would.
Yeah.
Steven and Natalie are like, oh shit, let's run. And they run deeper into the school where they go into a science class and just proceed to have sex. In a sensual long scene. And I am so baffled by this. And you're like, wait, why is this happening? They're in imminent danger.
Yeah, dire.
And a child is missing. A child, the only one doing anything to protect anyone is missing. And you're expecting something to happen, and it literally cuts to them at the police station being interrogated. All of them. All three of them. It just immediately cuts, and they're all in the cop's office being lectured about how stupid they are. The cop's
Also,
like,
keep
are
in
you
mind,
trying to tell me that
As
a
Sean
bunch of
Erdy
monsters-
pointed out. Yeah, as Sean Erdy pointed out, they watched these monsters walk into this school.
Right.
The police force.
And then they explain, and again, and also one of them has them on film. So even if they didn't, and the cop's like, so you're trying to tell me if we go to the Golden Gate Bridge, we could fight these things with water? And they're like, yeah. And the cop's like, all right, well, if this doesn't work, you're all fucking dead. So the cops go to the bridge. This is fucking insane. So the cops go. And this is where I was like, okay, if this is how they end it, I might even be okay with it, because the cops start taking water guns out of their car. Like we get the montage of like the cops like, like opening the trunk, and they're like getting their weapons, but it's funny because they're grabbing water guns.
Yeah, imagine having real guns and being like, I think I'll go with the water gun theory.
Because these fucking kids. But like at this point, that would be funny. That would be a great ending. Like,
No, I agree.
it would at least do something. But the cops, they go into the fucking bridge doors where these things live, and there's nothing there. So the cops all leave, except for the main cop, the cigar smoking cop, who's like, let me just take one more look around. And he gets meat hooked by the creatures and sucked in, and then the doors close by themselves. And you're like, oh, is that the end? Which would have been unsatisfying, but I kind of get it. Like, oh, they're still alive. But it gets a little bit more unsatisfying because we cut to the kids in a van driving, and Steven goes, hey kid, you still got your squirt gun? Keep it. The rain won't last forever. And then it fucking ends. we are literally left with not one answer to anything that's happening. I don't know if I've ever seen such a poorly made attempt at a story in my life.
And we said that last episode with that made for TV movie.
Oh, the Midnight Hour. Yeah.
This, at least they had like newspaper articles that they tried to like piece together for a story or like a backstory.
Dude, anything.
This was a whole new level.
I would have taken like when we say they don't explain there is nothing to identify what these things are or what their purpose. Like, not even an old woman being like, "Oh, the old Neon Maniac under the bridge story." Like, there's nothing. There's absolutely nothing.
That would have been all it took. Like I said, just one person saying one thing for you to be like, oh, "Okay, fine."
Just being like, "Oh, the old Neon Maniac urban legend," and I would have been like, "Wait, I don't think that's real, but I'll take it." Like,
yeah. Exactly.
At this point, I would take fucking anything that they were willing to offer.
Yes.
Oh God. So that's Neon Maniacs.
Yeah.
Probably one of the worst ones we've ever done.
I'm still surprised. I pulled up my letterbox to look at the scores one more time. And a lot of 3s, a lot of 2.5s, and one 4.5.
So this is like where, and I know you've disagreed with me on this, but like that fucking Terrifier, like if there's no story, I just can't give you a good rating. Like if you don't have a story, I mean that one had better everything, but everything else was better than this. But
at least there was kills in Terrifier.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like at least
some semblance of filmmaking.
Yeah. So we're trying to get Paul still for the Ben Willard saga.
I've been asked that by multiple people when it's happening. So dude, Paul needs to get his shit together.
People are very excited about that. If not, we'll just have to end up doing it. But people were so excited about the Ben Willard. The only problem I have, like, listen, I know, sure, I probably should have heard the song Ben by Michael Jackson. I probably should have been aware of that. But some people were like, "You've never seen Ben?" Like, give me a fucking break. Like, I've had better shit to do. All right, guys. Like, I've had to work. Like, I gotta work. I gotta fucking get laid. Like, come on. Like, Ben, stop it. Like, it's not like, oh, you've never seen fucking, I don't even know. What's a good movie?
Texas Chainsaw?
Yeah, like, come on, Ben, the fucking sequel to Willard. All right. Anyway, so if we can't do Ben Willard next week, what should we do?
Are we going to do a Christmas? Tina was actually asking, are we going to do a Christmas themed movie this year?
I think we should, because there's a bunch of them that I want to do that I've actually found that aren't so well. Yeah, Satan's Little Helper. Oh,
how about?
Is that?
It's
Christmas?
not. It's not.
I thought it was a play on Santa's Little Helper.
No, it most definitely is, but just in title. What about the Silent Night, Deadly Night sequel with Mickey Rooney?
Oh, wait, yes. Oh my God, we have to. After doing Mickey Rooney in that fucking Disney movie, I just want to watch his entire catalog of like old Mickey Rooney, which has honestly been since like the 60s, but like,
I still think about, since we did that episode, I still think about his fucking soulless rendition of Meet Me in Hollywood.
which I don't think I talked about on an episode. Because after the episode ended was when you made that comment about it was one of the funniest things I've ever.
I didn't even say it on the episode.
You didn't. It was after the episode ended. I had actually stopped recording.
Oh damn!
So
that rendition, I've never heard like a more lifeless human being.
I was crying. Joe compared it. I laughed all week thinking about how Joe compared that rendition to, and Joe said it was if you were putting a dog down If you were putting your dog to sleep, this is like what this song would sound like in his head. I've never heard a funnier comparison than that. It was such a sad, dying song. Oh, fuck. I'm crying just thinking about it. Oh, my God. All right. So yeah, why don't we'll do the Mickey Rooney Silent Night, Deadly Night. And I'll also, I know there's another Christmas one that came out in the 80s. It's definitely got like a Gremlins vibe to it. I don't know. But anyway, and then this week I want to do a review of Mandy with you. I'm going to watch Mandy, and then we'll do that for Patreon.
Okay.
All right.
Good.
So yeah, if we don't do the Ben and Willard this coming week, we'll do whatever the Silent Night, Deadly Night is with Mickey Rooney. I don't even know which one.
It's the fifth one. It's the fifth one.
The Silent Night, Deadly Night 5. What a choice. What a choice. Merry Christmas, everybody. And happy Hanukkah. Hanukkah started. So happy Hanukkah.
Yes.
All right, guys. So that's it. Facebook.com/IHateHorror, IHateHorror.com. And you can find me on Instagram at IHateHorror.
I'm at Boognish1985.
And that's a wrap. So thank you all so much for the support. We really appreciate it. And for Joe, this is Sean. Stay weird.
Thank you.
Adios.
Dissect. Movies all fucking day.
Wanna play?
I'm gonna watch what I'm not supposed to watch.
Dismember.
A fucking zombie getting sliced and diced. A monster.
Mutilate. And butcher. That's it, guys.